Welcome to Supremely Black. We are Flake, Rose, and Spears, dropping content that matters. How was y'all week this week, fellas?
Man, I had a good week. How about them Cowboys? Oh, with their comeback, you understand me? Well, we was down 20-something points and then came back and beat Atlanta by one. I take it. Everybody saying y'all should have been blowing them out anyway. Nope, I don't care. NFL team's NFL team. I take it. I'm sure gonna take it. I don't know what it is about Atlanta and big leagues, but they can't seem to hold on, and I appreciate them. And this is the type of win that get the Cowboys on that nice little streak, to push us where we need to be. You know what I'm saying? So my week was good. I ain't even gonna lie to you. It was good. I can't speak for everybody else, but when it comes to that realm, but it was pretty good for me.
Yeah, it's been had a great week. Went with the my run group, ZFT up to Dallas, and met with our second chapter up there. It was a great week, fellowshipping and running. That was dope. LeBron them won, so that was dope. It would have been an absolutely perfect weekend, but Atlanta, y'all messed up a wet dream, boy. I was just so I had every text message ready for every single one. But outside of that, man, it's a dope weekend. No complaints. How about you, Spirits? And please don't mention anything Flake said, man. Be creative.
Man, don't be a hater.
Hey, I had my CD Lamb jersey on Saturday, so I supported and manifested that victory. But then not only that, I always got that star on me regardless. So for two reasons, but I always got that star on me regardless. So I'm repping them boys. But my weekend was great. It was a blessed weekend. Like you said, I'm back in Dallas, but the Houston chapter where I originate from came up here, and we ran that 10K, PR'd in my 10K. So I'm glad on that. Shout out to my boy Woods for helping me. We was doing that yo-yo, so I appreciate you, sir. And then the festivities and everything was good. My sister celebrated her birthday this weekend, and today is her actual birthday. So happy birthday, sis. Love you. And I just had a good weekend. It was good vibes, nice fun and everything. So, everything was great. So my weekend was wonderful. Fantastic. How about them boys? That's what I believe y'all.
Happy born day, Queen. So salute. Comment on.
Okay. So this week, if you've been with us from the beginning, we was using a term that can be confrontational sometimes, or it could be, misunderstood, or it could be something you use on a regular that you don't even think of twice about. So we was using the word nigga. And if you've been following us from the beginning, after our first 5-10 episodes, we stopped using that word and that term because somebody brought it to one of us, our attention, and said, why do we use it? And do you think that's something that's going to get y'all further, or that could hinder y'all in what y'all are trying to do and the impact that y'all are trying to have on the community and the culture? So we as a group been trying not to use it. There's sometimes where we slip up when we talk about some deep stuff, some stuff, and we just passionate and going. However, for the most part, we haven't used that word at all. And we've been real diligent and conscious in not bringing up that word or using it out of term until we came to this topic today. And so the topic today is, do you agree or disagree with the term and the word nigga and using it in our culture, using it as a people? Does it offend you? Does it affect you? Does it bother you? Does it not bother you? Are you okay with it? Is it cool for a white person to use it? Is it not cool for a white person to use it? A Mexican, anybody outside of the black culture? Or is it cool for anybody? And are we being hypocritical by saying we're the only ones who can use it? So that's what today's topic is about. That's what we're going to discuss. I'm pretty sure there'll be differing opinions on this. And so therefore, I would like to start off the topic precisely with, do y'all think is something that we should say or that we should not say in our culture in today as Black people, and then we could break down other races using the term or whatnot as well.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm slick torn. I ain't gonna lie. It's some days I'm like, I'm not gonna say it. We not gonna say it. I say I'm gonna quit saying it. Then I catch myself saying it just automatically. I would like for us to stop saying it, but I think in some situations where it should be allowed to be said. Amongst friends, you just kicking it and whatnot. Sometimes you let it slip out. Just joking around. And then some instance where you watch the news and you see something and you be like, niggas gonna need, man. Just nigga, they ain't a Black person. They're just a nigga the way they acting. You know what I'm saying? But I'm one of those people who use for everybody. I call everybody nigga. White person, next. It don't matter. I call niggas gonna need, and that's just how I look at it. It ain't really got a color on it or whatnot. But at the end of the day, I wish we all could just stop saying it. At the end of the day, like if you got kids growing up, like my kids don't even say it. They think that's just like they grow up thinking that's like the ultimate bad word. Like they is not saying it. They rather say the other cuss word than say nigga. Like they not saying it all. So me, I'm just kind of torn on it, man. But bottom of my heart say let's stop saying it. But I don't know if I can keep. I don't say it as much as I used to. I used to say it all the time, but now I probably say it about maybe once a day, if that. But after 7 days after the week, you're gonna get about 6, 7 of them fly out, at least.
Uh, Man, this is tough, and I think that's honestly why we stayed away from it for as long as possible. At times, it's more or less of, I know growing up we use it as a term of endearment, but when it was brought to my attention, I think me and Spears, we often spoke about it a few times before we addressed it. It's, why does it come with such a negative connotation? I know it dates back to slavery days and old times that it was used as something that was derogatory. So it is uncomfortable to hear, especially when you hear it from different races, but I could also see why people think that that's hypocritical because we use it as a term of endearment, but if anybody else says it to us, then we're offended by it. So it's a slippery slope. It's tough. Like, I think the goal for me is to take it out of my vocabulary as much as possible, especially when you're doing something publicly. But it does happen because, honestly, out of my 29 years of living, we say it. Like, it ain't nothing that we never took offense to it until it was someone of another race saying it to us. So to answer your question, my goal is to get away from it, and hopefully we can use other terms that are less offensive, especially if we're going to be taking offense of other people calling us that. So that's the best way that I can handle or answer that one for right now.
So I guess I'll be the radical, the rebel, the confrontational one. I am all for it, using it in our culture, using it in our language and our verbiage. And I honestly wish that we didn't care what other people said or allowed other people to try to guilt us, and either to allowing them to use it or to try to allow us to take away the way that we flipped it on them so it really doesn't affect us as much. And so I do pay homage to, everything our ancestors went through, the actual word and the meaning behind it when they say nigger and not nigga, but and I do understand that was a bottom of the totem pole, disrespectful term back then. However, I do believe that what we did was allowed somebody's degrading of us to show them that oh, y'all tried something, but now we using that to uplift us and for a term of endearment, like you said, Rose, where now I'll get in your ass if I catch you saying it. However, me and my people, me and my culture, me and my brothers and sisters, oh yeah, we gonna call each other that. We gonna say what's up, my nigga, or whatever the case may be. And half the time we say it because some of the people we be talking to, or whatever, we might not even know their name. And so we just be like, what's up, my nigga, or what's good? And all this other stuff. And then sometimes, like Flake said, sometimes some things though, and you could tell in the tone, something is just nigga activity. It's just niggerish. And there's a difference between nigga activity and niggerish things versus just, oh, that's my nigga. Like, that's my brother, that's my bro, that's my guy, that's my dude, and all of this other stuff. And then the next thing I will say is, and I could be wrong and I might catch some flack, but this is how I raise my kids, and I wish you would tell me how to raise my kids. I call my kids nigga. And I really don't mind if they was to use the word, because I want them to take pride in who they are and where they come from and everything that we've been through from the beginning till now. And I want them to also realize the damage that was done to us and the damage that we done to ourselves, but then also to try to figure out ways to better themselves and then better ourselves as a people and empower each other. So I really don't see nothing wrong with it. And I'm all for saying it, but I'm not opposed to anybody feeling any kind of way about it. And that's why when Rose said, say, can we chill out on using the word? There wasn't no like opposition or be like, nah, I'm just gonna say it because that's what I say. It was respect to the wishes and also to, because it was your great aunt or just your aunt who asked us not to say it.
It was it was my aunt that had mentioned it, but there was other people that had spoke and said in the exact way was that you all are far more intelligent and reach a bigger view of people than I guess how you all may see it, because even though you all are raw enough that it's barbershop talk, why would y'all just have to use that word when you all can use your dictionary? And I know you do, because how you read, how you carry yourself, the positions that you may hold in a professional sense. So I didn't take it as such, and I was like brushing it off. But when you look back at it, it's like we have a million words that we can use. We don't have to say nigga just to get our point across, but we do because it's a comfortability. Yeah, it was my aunt, but it was other people as well. I just don't remember their exact names, but there's a few that brought it up like, yeah, I'll say that a lot. So that was it. But I do have a question for you if you didn't have anything else with it. Now, if your kids, because like Flake was saying that, like my little cousins, they don't even use it. I think that's the ultimate bad word. However, to us, we hear it in music, we say it, and it's just free flowing. If your kids are very enlightened on the past, on how the word was used, what example do you think we would be setting if they hear us using it, and they also could look back on old, maybe it's a slave movie or when racism was still a thing? How would you explain that? Because they hear you or us saying it, but it was used at that particular time as a negative, but we use it as a way of endearment. So like, how would you even explain that to your kids or somebody younger that may not want to touch the word?
Well, if somebody doesn't want to touch it, I mean, that's their prerogative, and I respect their decision, and I'm not going to try to make them sit there and hold them hostage and say, you got to say this word. No, this is a word that you must use in your vocabulary. However, I would explain it to them that that was a word that was very degrading to us. However, we realize that they're always going to view us this way, whether they say it or they're not. And so what we did with that word was we let it empower us, and we would dare, and most of us, because some people do give people passes that we kicked it with that grew up in a certain environment as us that might not be the same, color as us or ethnicity as us, but we give them a pass. And then sometimes some people are just scared to do something to somebody who says that. But I'd be damned if I allow somebody to disrespect me in that manner. And because I take pride in one, the way that we flipped it on them, so it's really jokes on you, And that's how I would explain it. Jokes on them, ha, ha, ha. You can't say it no more, but we can say it. And then 2, I would also let them know that if you choose not to do this because you feel the pain or you respect what our ancestors went through and the magnitude of that word means something more to you and is more heartfelt to you, that is something that you would rather not use, I would commend them for it and say, I appreciate it. And I would do like we done here, not use it around them or try not to use it around them, because it's something that I just say backhand. Now, I do realize that just like I control myself in the workplace, and I have slipped up and said it one time. And at this one job, this HR lady who was black, she heard me and my coworker saying it, and she was like, I wish I wouldn't use that. And y'all don't need to be using that word because 1, you at work and there's white people around, but 2, y'all just don't need to be using that word. She was on that part of the spectrum. However, for the most part, you don't say it at work, you don't say it around in certain atmospheres and structures, but around my people, around us, I feel like we should be comfortable enough, and we should, I don't want to say show homage or whatever, but I just feel like it's something that uplifts us more than brings us down. And so that's just how I would explain it. But if they did not want me to use it around them, I'll bite my tongue and, respect their decision, because again, it's not something that I am gung-ho or adamant about, as far as like saying, oh, forget what you believe, or I don't care how you feel, I'm just going to say it. It's not something like that. But again, it's something that I do feel like we should take pride in versus, just say, let's cut that out. Because at the end of the day, we are always going to be looked at as niggers, not niggas. Like, they might say a nigga sometimes, but they still look at us as nigger, Nigger. And so, and then also the flip side of it, when you do the heritage and you realize niggas means kings, that's another reason why I say nigga, because at the end of the day, they kind of correlate. And when you go back to history, niggas means king. So we're king. So it's not the exact word or terminology, but basically when I say it, I'm saying, what up, king or queen? So that's how I would handle it.
I got you.
Yeah, that's why I kind of stopped saying at my house. Going back to D.Rose question, that's why I kind of quit saying at my house. I used to say it too. I used to say it to my kids too. But then my oldest child, I found that kind of hurt her feelings a little bit. Like, she was taking it the wrong way. I was like, okay, like I said, they on a whole nother deal. They ain't grow up like I grew up. You know what I'm saying? So, and then plus we do our little black educational stuff as well. We go on little trips or whatever. We go out of town. We try to make sure we stop by. They got some black education museum or something like that. We make sure we stop by and stuff like that. So, like I said, it's kind of ingrained in them that it is a bad word. So they don't want to say it. They don't like it. So I was like, well, let me not say it in the house. I even thought, and y'all correct me if I'm wrong, it could be just stuff I listened to. It seemed like to me, going back to when I was growing up listening to rap, and the rap today is even slimmed down on the rap today. Like, they say everything else, but you don't hear nigga as much as you used to. I ain't saying it ain't said in rap music, because it's said, but you don't hear it as much as you used to. Maybe it may be the songs that I listen to, maybe the music that I listen to. But
yeah, I was fixing to say, because I think that they use that damn near as a metaphor. Like, I don't even like. Yeah.
I ain't talking about I ain't talking about my black youngster Moneybag Yo.
As you were saying that, I was trying to think of a song that I haven't even heard it on outside of hearing Big Crit. Nipsey wasn't too fond of it. J. Cole. I mean, even they would slip it in. I'm pretty sure I'm missing out on some, but it's not as out of the people that can use their vocabulary. They don't have to use it as much. Like Toby, he don't even cuss, and he's a great rapper, so it's like not to lead it towards rap. Nah. But yeah, them little young cats be saying it, bro. Like, that's they word. Like, if they ain't got nothing.
Yeah, y'all listen to a lot of young cats though.
Yeah. So okay, I get you.
I don't listen to a lot of young cats.
Yeah, they can go from love music to nigga. Whoa, like, where that like you could find nothing else. like, come on, bro. Like, you had me cool. I was ready to pick up the phone and apologize and everything. You put that in there, I got a little aggressive. You know what? So it just comes with it. It just depends on the mood. But yeah, they say it a little bit too much, honestly. But what was your other question, though, Spirit?
So, my next question is, and I'm gonna start with this because I know the answer when it comes to Caucasian or Anglo-Saxon people. So let me start with this: does it bother you when Latinos, Mexicans, Spanish people use the word nigga? Because I'll tell you something that happened with me. There was this at this one job in Houston, there was this Mexican cat. And I mean, he was a cool cat or whatever, but you know, we worked with each other, but we didn't work directly with each other. But he would just throw nigga up there loosely. And because I have been a hothead, I didn't say nothing to him directly, but I asked somebody who was she was a Mexican woman, and I asked her, like, yo, what's up with old boy saying nigga like this is, and then she was like, well, that's just how he was raised or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not cool with, people who ain't of the culture just really saying it like that. So I was like, I'm not trying to be confrontational because I can. So could you just tell him not to use that word around me like that or whatnot? And then she said she would or whatnot. But do y'all have a problem with people who are of brown descent using the word or the term, or does it not bother you or faze you, like when we are locker room talk or amongst whatever, not in a setting that we have to be, politically correct or professional?
I wouldn't say it bothers me because, again, that'd be hypocritical, and I'm not a hypocritical person at all. However, since I don't try to use it as much as possible myself, I would respect the same in return. So you may be used to being around people that don't find any offense to it. And I'm not perfect because I slip and say it every now and then. However, if I'm feeling that it's just being overly used or just I'm not comfortable with it, not necessarily offended, but I was like, hey, bro, like I was around some Hispanic guys and they were talking and they're from the hood. So, I mean, they've used it because they have friends that are from the hood as well. That we all use it as a term of endearment. But I was just, like I told them, it was like, respectfully, I know we all from the culture. I'm not knocking you, not less of this by me asking you this question, but I try my best to try to not say it to my people or even refer to us as niggas. So do you mind? And they was like, all right, I ain't never heard nobody even say that. Like, you a different type of dude. That was the exact word. They probably want to say a different type of Negro, you feel me? But it was like, you have to respect it because I know where you from, you know where I'm from. I'm not checking you on it. I'm just saying respectfully, could we use a different term? So just like I may use bruh, cuz, however, we could get away from saying nigga as like our go-to word because you have nothing else to say. So that was it. Like I've been around people and I'm like, I ain't really feeling that. And it ain't because they was of a different ethnicity. I would say it to us. Like I've said it, we talk about it, like let's use a different term. So I'm not hypocritical, but if I ain't feeling it, it's just too much. Nah. What about you?
Yeah, I'm hypocritical. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't with these other folks saying. Yeah. I ain't with. I mean, if we talking about a Hispanic person that grew up in the hood, I'm cool with them. I ain't gonna lie to you. White person grew up in the hood, hell no, still don't say it. Asian people that grew up in, nope, I don't want you saying it. Even they grew up in the hood, to be honest with you, unless you got some black in y'all let you slide. But if you ain't mixed race or whatnot, I ain't trying to hear it. I let the Hispanic folks get away with it, and they grew up in the hood or whatnot, or because I feel like they didn't go through the same stuff we went through, but they get treated pretty bad over here in America as well. Other races look at them, crazy too. You know what I'm saying? So, it gets to a point. Some people let it slide, like Spirit said. Even white people, some black people let white people slide with it. I don't do that. I give you an example. I mean, one time we got caught up in some stuff, and I ain't gonna lie, white girl came through for some situation, man. She hid some stuff for us that when the police pulled us over, we was going to jail if she didn't do what she had to do. After it was all over with, search was done, we got back to the crib, and she was talking to her boyfriend, was like, nigga, can I do this? Cause man, this John hot and man, nigga, this nigga. I was like, whoa. hold on, time out, shorty. You know what I'm saying? I like, nah, I ain't. And I told him, I said, man, you need to check old girl with that, cause I ain't necessarily with that. They're like, cool out, Flake, man. You know what she just did for us, well, man. I don't give a damn about what she just did for us. You know what I'm saying? That's all cool and all. I appreciate it. I ain't asked you to do it. However, I ain't what you saying it. Like point blank, period. I don't care if you is dating a black dude. No, I don't care. I don't care if you get kids by a black dude. I ain't caring nothing about it. I mean, it might be just where I grew up from, because I done seen folks switch up on real fast. I done seen it. You cool in the hood, you all that, blah blah blah. Something go down, you done turn down. You ain't even with the culture. You you got mixed kids out here. You done turn the whole you done turn all the way around, and you done flip the whole script on us, and now you getting arrested. You telling on them. Man, no, dude, I ain't with it.
One thing I will say though, I know for a fact, coming from a small town, you're less likely to be accepting of other races because we didn't really grow up with other people. Like, there may have been a few back in the day that was, in the hood, and they probably slipped and said they got to pass on it because, they was always around or did more dirt than the next person. So it could have been, but I noticed that going to different cities and being around like Hispanic people, Asian people that were more city and not so culturally driven, because I've only, like in our small town, like everybody act apart, meaning it wasn't people that really migrated to different races to hang out like that. Like Mexicans it was
Right.
segregated, just to be honest with you. White peoples were white people, Mexicans were Mexicans. The little group of Asian people that may have been in our community, they was at the Asian, where the Asian people was at, and then the black people were together from county to county. So when you come to Nashville, I never even seen anybody outside of us even being gang members. That blew my mind when I came to Nashville when I was 14 in the summer. Like, hold on, bro. I just walked into the mall at Flags, and I called Flake, like, what is this? He was like, oh, yeah, welcome to the city. Like, they got bandanas, tattoos, face tattoos, flag. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, whoa, you turned over into a whole different culture. So it's like, we just think it's us. And then you go to, what was the mall? Hickory Hollow Mall? You see,
They
you see,
banged up on that joint.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's Asian dudes in there, there's gang members. You see Kurdish people in there, there's gang members. I've never seen it. So I go back home like, bro, it's a whole different world out here with that people that are a part of our culture. So that's the first time I was really hearing like other people use nigga like loud, like they saying it across the mall at the skating rink. I'm like, what is this? And everybody look, oh, that's what they do. That's who they are. And it was back home, that would have been a fight immediately. Like, we ain't heard nobody else outside of us saying it unless you had a super, super hood pass. So it was different for me.
It was so crazy. They'll be talking to each other. They want to be talking to a black person.
Yep.
They be talking to each other. What's up, nigga? You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, that's how they be rocking. You know what I'm saying?
So it's a little, it was definitely.
That's how they rock.
Definitely.
But I ain't with no white folks saying it though. I ain't with it.
So for me, I wouldn't call it hypocritical, but I'm not with too much of any other races saying it for the most part, for real, unless I know, like, the only time I'm okay with it is if I'm coming into somebody else's neighborhood or area or whatever, and I know on a regular that the people that I'm with or that I know allow this person to say it, and then I can't say nothing because this is who you with every day, and they gave you a pass or whatever, they allow you to say it or whatnot. So, okay, you could say it because I can't just be the one, oh, I'm ready to pop stuff off and say, nah, I'm not allowing that or whatever. I will respectfully say, bro, can you chill out on using that word so much or whatnot? You know, you don't got to do that. But the reason why, for me, I don't like any other race saying it is because they didn't get treated how we got treated. So then, therefore, if we allowed them to use it, then that word's not empowering us no more, and it's not something that we flipped for our benefit. It's something that we allow other people who do not get whipped, who do not get beat, who do not get lynched, hung, dragged by ropes, tarred, skin peeling off and everything, hosed down, even if you go back to the 60s and stuff, mauled by dogs or everything that happened. They didn't have to go through being called nigger and go through the turmoil and the trauma that we went through in order to allow us to be able to use that word and flip it. So then therefore, my nigga, you can't say that word, period, because your people didn't go through that. And if you were the people who realized that you are black, then maybe if you accepted your blackness versus just, oh, I'm just a Mexican or I'm just a Latino or whatever, or I'm a Dominican Republic, if you accepted your Africanness, then yeah, it will be okay. But a lot of these cultures and ethnicities don't accept their blackness. So then therefore, if you don't accept that, don't accept the word that we use to as a term of endearment, because you're not accepting nothing else about the culture and about the blackness. So why are you accepting this? And so that's why I don't call it hypocritical. I just call it, it is what it is. Either you are a part of the culture and for the culture, or you're not. And if you're not, don't say that word, period. You can't pick and choose what part of the culture you want to represent. And so that's why I'm not for any other race saying it at all. But it does hit a little harder if an Anglo-Saxon or a Caucasian, whichever one you want to call it, says it, because they are, and I know you don't like the trauma bond stuff, Rose, and everything, but they are the real oppressors. They're the one who really, had us in chains and, was doing the disrespectful stuff and coined that term from a term that they probably got from us when we was on them boats saying niggas and kings, calling out to our kings and queens. And then they just turned it, oh, these are niggas. Like, they took a term that was something that was to our royalty, and then they turned it to something that's ignorance, and then now it's a dictionary word for ignorance. But then, if you don't know, your African heritage, you would have never knew that they got that word from royalty and kings. And so, that's the reason why I'm so passionate in using it. But again, and that's why I'm so passionate for other people not using it. But again, I am one of the few, and so that's just where I stand on that.
Yeah, most of the most of the Latino people that you're gonna catch in the hood is the ones that they call themselves Afro Latinos. They're the ones you're gonna catch in the hood. You'll notice the ones that try to separate themselves to say, no, no, ain't no black in me. And some of them even know. Some of them be dark as me. So there's no black in me. Man, you just try to play a facade so you can get some more money. But you get pulled over by the police, and when they book you, when you fill out your voter registration card or whenever you become a legal citizen, guess what's gonna be on your paperwork? That's exactly what it's gonna be. It might not say black, but it might say Afro Hispanic on that joker for sure. So them people do be killing me though. That don't want to claim, man. If you from Cuba, Puerto Rico, any of those places like that, come on, bro. You can't deny it, man. You can't deny it. You just got long silky hair. Outside of that, we are the same. We are the same.
Yeah, I think it was just more or less of like when asked about it, or even just questioned, like, of course, they use Nigger, we may use Nigga, but we know that the translation for nigga is Negus is king or emperor. But a lot of people may not. And also, another thing was, are we using it as that term, or we just using it based off of we want to take the power back from a word that they use to oppress us? Was really the people that had reached out or called and texted and was like, how about y'all take an angle and enlighten people on what Negus means outside of just being nigga or nigger? You feel me? So I think this is why I'm glad we went on and addressed the conversation, because a lot of people, I didn't know that fully that Negus was king or emperor. I learned that over the last, few years on really just trying to, enlighten myself on our heritage and how a lot of things were actually flipped to be coined a term to keep us oppressed, and it kind of strips us from our, for those who are from their heritage, of our royalty. So it's important, but that's why they were saying, like, why use the exact word that they use to oppress and take it as something that you're proud of? So, yep. What was your other question? Excuse me.
Well, the other question was about Caucasian, but I already know. We kind of dove into that a little bit, but I already know that all of us are against that for the most part or any part. And like you said, the super hood pass is some of the few. There are some who got super hood passes that, you know, we have allowed or we do allow to say it or whatnot, but, you know, that is far and in between. Now, my next question would be, and specifically to you, Rose, and then Flake, you could chime in because I know a lot of people came to you about this topic. So when they asked you, I just want to know, especially from the women who asked you, I just want to know, did you ever ask them or retort, why is it okay for y'all to call each other bitches and, and that be okay, but it's derogatory when a man calls you a bitch? And so can you not see how that could be hypocritical or how that correlates the same way that y'all take pride in saying, oh, that's my bitch or bitch this or, you know, all this other stuff. We take pride in saying nigga this that's my nigga or whatever. And so I just want to ask, did that ever cross your mind or did you ever say that to him or how do y'all even feel about that topic for, you know, women who are offended by us using nigga, but then they out here calling each other bitches, but then if a nigga call you a bitch, oh, you so disrespectful and all this extra shit.
I would say.
You sure you want to touch that? You sure you want to touch that?
Oh, yeah, I can
No,
touch that.
yeah,
Yeah,
I'm gonna let y'all have it. I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna let y'all have it. I'm gonna be back.
yeah.
I'm gonna come back in a little bit, y'all.
You good. No, you good. You good. You good. So for my aunt and my godmother, absolutely not. Whatever feedback they provided for me, I let them go with it. And
oh yeah, I know that.
We talked about that. Like I got exactly where they were coming from. However, the younger ladies that I spoke with in regards to it, that is where the conversation that led. It was like, I don't like to call women B's, H's, anything outside of their actual name. Now, they will touch bases on it to do it, but I was like, I think we all feel the same way in regards to we take that as a term of endearment, and you all and we all as a culture take it as that as such. But when you hear it from even within our own communities, if a guy says it, it's offensive. But if your girl says like, oh, well, that's cool, that's my, but why? And I think honestly, it's just we've grown accustomed to certain things. Is just we have our own stances, and when we want to say and pick and choose of when it's offensive and when people say it. So that's what the conversation went. And we talked for hours about like, why is that okay and why is it offensive? Well, guys said offensive. Okay, we're not saying, hey, my nigga in an offensive way. It's more or less of like, hey, what's up? Or, hey, bro, if it's a heated situation, we may say that, but we're going to take it to, you're going to be called something else before we get to that. And that's really going to make you go there. However, we're not using that term. We don't use that term. We don't use the B word as a term of endearment to our homie. Like, hey, what's up? I've heard young cats do it or jokingly saying it, but that's not something we do. So I was like, I just think within our community, we need to have like, that's why I love these type of conversations and just being honest, like we're very hypocritical because it's a lot of things that we say and do that we're only offended by it when we pick and choose to be offended by it. And in reality, how I look at it, I'm not caught like you here, like I had to be extremely hot to even think about it. It's not even, I could care less because neither one of those explains a woman and neither one of them explains a man in no way, shape, or form, unless with the man, I'm really trying to be disrespectful. I would put both of them words together and I want you to take it a certain way so we can go ahead and take it there. But that's not my goal with a woman. But it was dope because we just laughed the same way. Like Flake was like, you sure we want to touch it? We should be able to talk about it. But I don't know why they cool with it. I don't agree because if we all together and we with our homegirls or queens or how we expected and some dude holler out and say that, we own them. They gonna get in the car or however they want to do it, and they may say it to each other the whole ride home. It ain't gonna be not one fight, unless it's somebody that said it to them that they weren't cool with. Then it's escalated. So it's like the same way we cool in the car was saying, "Hey, bro," we get to a light, and somebody that ain't with us say, "Nigga, what you mean? We out the car before he didn't hit the brakes yet. We out." You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's funny, but we allow certain things to trigger us, but then we'll go back to not being able to control our emotions over it. At the end of the day, honestly, it's just a word, and however you take it is upon you, but you can't just keep picking and choosing on what side offensive when you're offended by it. That's just how I would look at it. So if you cool with them and they say it, and if you ain't, it's still just a word. Like my dad always told me, it ain't what they call you, it's what you respond to. So, yeah, we talked about it. The younger ladies definitely wanted to bring that up. You know, I had to hit them with it. Like, okay, so let's talk about how we address it across the board. Well, that's how we feel. You know what I'm saying? We can all use a bigger vocabulary when it comes to addressing ourselves. Let's take the accountability on both sides and call a spade a spade. Yep.
That's a very valid point. That's a very valid point. I ain't never had the guts to ask no female that. I let them have it. I let them have it. I let them have it. Bitch, come on through. I let them have it. Now, is it one of the craziest things? Is it one of the craziest things that I thought of? Because, you know what I'm saying, when I grew up, when I was growing up, girls would go, that's why it threw me off, because growing up and going to school, they couldn't call each other that unless you wanted to take it there. I seen plenty of fights get started because of that. Shoot, I mean, I got 7 aunties, you know what I'm saying, and my mama, like, well, none of them going for none of that. But buying nothing. You want to get stabbed? Go ahead and fix your lips. Go ahead and fix your lips, say it. And my mama and my auntie still ain't going for it. They not ever going for that. They raised all of us to be like, you better not ever fix your lips to say it to a woman either. You know what I'm saying? You can't even kid around as a male and say that to a girl, and that'll change the whole mood for the rest of the night. And you could be just kidding. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, teach their own. Just depends on who you with, who you around, how they was raised or whatnot. But I can see they point on us not saying, you know, niggas much. And I can see our point on, you know, we look at each other a different way. You know what I'm saying? We look at our women a certain way, and like, I don't understand why y'all call each other that, because when I look at you, I don't see that. You know what I'm saying? I look at you as a 100% complete queen of mine. You know, slick worship the ground you walk on. I'm trying to protect you. You know what I'm saying? Trying to keep you out of harm's way, lift you up to the highest power. And that's how they look at us. So I can see how they feel that way, because that's how they look at us. We don't think nothing of it, but they sit back thinking, hell, why is my king calling these other kings that? I'm trying to uplift y'all to the highest. I got y'all back. So, I mean, I guess it's a conversation we had to have with each one of us, and, you know, see where we at on that.
And another thing is, like, even the gentleman that spoke about, like, why is that a term that you all use so lightly on the podcast? And so it kind of threw me off that they had said it, but they was thinking, like, in this particular instance, is that you all have a podcast which gives you a platform that you can actually speak on. You're going to have a wide variety of people that are going to be exposed to your actual message. Now, with that message, they are wanting us, and even want us to view it as if that you're going to be impacting people, whether that's for better or for worse. Now, everything we're going to talk about, people are not always going to agree with, which is completely fine. But when you think about it from a holistic standpoint, is the people that you reach out to, what are they going to leave with that message? I don't view you all as normal people that I could go to anywhere and just have or find these conversations that where you are being very honest and you are being very direct, but you're not being disrespectful. So it's a lot of things that we could look at from the word bitch, nigga, however you want to look at it, that could be used in derogatory terms. So we're looking at you all to lead other people to have more fluent conversations that are staying away from derogatory terms, even though it may be controversial topics that you all are discussing. And so it made sense. I was like, we have to challenge ourselves to do so, because everybody could have an opportunity to have a platform, but what are you doing with it? Are you still spreading the same things that people may feel is holding us back? Or are you going to take the stance to be different, dare to be different, and really impact people that makes you listen and not be like, oh, that's just like any other rap song or anybody else that doesn't really want to broaden their vocabulary, honestly. Like, it could just be a turnoff. Like, even for people that don't cuss, like, I ain't trying to be around nobody discussing all day. Not that I'm not judging you, but it's just not my thing.
And to that gentleman, I respect that logic and that ideology.
Gentlemen.
Oh, to them gentlemen,
Yeah, yeah.
I respect that logic and that ideology. However, I would say this to anybody who is just who is trying to change somebody else's ideology or logic. Before you ask why do you use that word, or ask them not to use that word is what I meant. Before you ask them not to use that word, find out why they use that word. So then therefore you can see where they come from. And then if you do want to challenge them to broaden their vocabulary or to be better or do better because that's your logic versus their logic, then do that. But don't just, and it goes back to what we talked about yesterday, don't just put your mouth on something or just ridicule somebody for you not even knowing where they come from when they use a term. And so that goes to our women out there who use the word bitch. That goes to our man out there who use the word nigga. That goes to our niggas out there who use the word bitch, and our women out there who use the word nigga. There is a difference between being ignorant and then doing something because that's how you grew up. And so as to them gentlemen who brought that to you, I want our listeners and our viewers to know that you do have to walk that fine line. I'm not telling you that you can't use a word or a term or a catchphrase, phrase, whatever the case may be, but make sure that when you do use it, it's not out of ignorance. And so that's my thing about when I say the word nigga. And again, like I said, I've shown respect to the people who have approached Rose because nobody really said nothing to me about the word. I shown respect to the people who approached Rose about wanting us to alleviate that from our vocabulary. And so I might have slipped up once or twice and said it, but I haven't really said it and that's a word that I commonly use. However, I just want to make sure that people try to understand people more versus just trying to tell people what to do, because that is a lot of the barrier that holds us back and allows us to be confrontational or frictional because we're not coming from a place of understanding. And so that's my thing with that. But I do commend everybody who did challenge us to be better and to do better. I do appreciate the light that y'all view us in to say y'all are better than that to speak a certain way or to use certain words. And so I appreciate y'all and I thank y'all for challenging us to be better and to even view us in that light when some of y'all don't even know us. Like, the people who talking to Rose don't know me at all, and all this other stuff. But they have enough respect for me to say, Rose, tell your bro Chris Spears to chill out on using this word because I think he is so much more than this, or vice versa with other topics or other things. So I do appreciate y'all. It's all love, and I thank y'all for that. And I just do wish that, if anything, people before they try to tell you not to do something or whatever, just try to be like, say bro, or say ma'am, or say queen, or say sis, or say king. Why are you the way that you are? Why do you view the world the way that you view it versus just saying, you messed up. Your logic is all wrong. Like, you wrong. And so that's one thing that I wish we would do as a people.
Yeah, I can honestly say that the individuals that did reach out pertaining just some of the things that we may say just in general on the podcast, or just generally in just our way of doing things within our generation. It wasn't from a judgmental standpoint, because anybody that knows me knows I've always been very outspoken, and that's the last way you're gonna come to me and just tell me what I should be doing, because I'm cool on that. I always have been. But they came from a place of like, I want to challenge your mind on why do you all use it. So it wasn't like from a judgmental place, because if so, we'd have still been saying it out of some just like, we're gonna do what we want to do. But when I gave them my response and why we do, and they gave me their response on why they wanted to challenge me, it's completely different. And I appreciate it more when we listen to our podcast ourselves or even talk about it. It's like, okay, we are making people use a dictionary or going into different things because we could have everyday conversation that could lead to absolutely nothing, but that's not our point of the podcast. We do want people to tune in and get something from it, not just, I know, but another thing that you said is just very important. It's not we're saying or doing any of this out of ignorance. This is just things that we've always done and said because that's just how we are. And there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing, you know what I'm saying? But as long as you're just moving with the right purpose and not from a judgmental perspective. So they wasn't. But I definitely agree with your background because everybody's not going to always be as outspoken to say, hey, challenge you to do this without it being judgmental. And they weren't. So I definitely thank them for challenging us because it's made us better as I listen to the podcast, honestly. Did you have anything else with that? Or
I was just going to ask y'all that. Was there any other points that y'all wanted to touch on the word nigga or anything else? Because before I come to the conclusion, my last question would be, after our conversation and our topic, do you still feel the same way as you felt when you first answered the question? Is it a term that you would rather cut out your vocabulary or wish we didn't say, or is it a term now that you like, I'm still going to say, but I'm going to say it in certain settings or groupings or whatnot? So if y'all don't have nothing else, y'all can answer that question. But if y'all have something else to touch on, we could touch on that before we answer that question.
yeah, I know we're getting close to wrapping it up, but yeah, I've used it. Like I may use nigga or niggas more or less from a king or emperor standpoint, but just what's up, I don't remember the last time I even said it to you, honestly. Like we may be, having a good time and I may have slipped and said it, but just really just how it was prior to having that discussion and we took it off air and we slick talked about it for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. It just hasn't really been in my interest. Now, do I still say it time to time? Yeah, but now it's in a term of really empowerment from emperor and the king, not nigga. It's niggas. You know what I'm saying? It's like more or less. And I got that from really just reading up on Killer Mike a lot. Like he said, but it's a term of empowerment. It's not nigga in any form. So that's it. So I feel different because we took the time out of ourselves and was very patient in regards to just jumping into it and not coming from an emotional standpoint, and took time to study on where did the word actually originate from and not just going off of what was put in front of us as a derogatory term, because it wasn't and isn't. However, a certain group of people use it as a term of oppression, and that's what's pushed into our face, which goes against everything that we do. But if you do studying, they're just trying to strip us from our royalty and not enlighten us on a lot of the things that we originated it. We created it ourselves. So that's it. So I feel better. I don't necessarily say I feel different.
Yeah, it's a term that comes from the continent of Africa, and if you look it up, it's been spelled so many different ways to the point where the oppressor didn't even know how to spell it or say it correctly. So they've been jacking it up for the longest. Even my little comedic mind even think they probably ended up in somewhere where they speak Spanish and they were just saying the word black. It's Niagara, and then they was like, what, they say Niagara? They call them Niagars over there. That's what and it just spread their way. Ain't no telling. But they jacked it all the way up. We know it's not the original word or whatnot. But yeah, I'm still gonna slip up and say it. I don't say it as much as I used to, but now I say it more out of excitement. It'd be something happen, I'm like, nigga, did you see that? You know what I'm saying? Now is when I say it, it's more out of excitement instead of general conversation or whatnot. But it has toned down quite a bit. Even after this conversation, I still feel the same. I still feel that I wish we just didn't say it at all, because now the reason why I say we didn't say it all, because it's getting out of hand a little bit, especially when people go to concerts and they singing along with the rappers and they saying it with a song. I done heard a couple white people try to get away with saying, I'm just singing along with the song. No, I don't give a damn. That ain't got nothing to do with it. I don't care nothing about that, So that's the only reason why I really wish, we'd take out our vocabulary due to that, because people getting a little too confident, a little bit out of hand. prime example when Chappelle was doing the Chappelle show, when Dave Chappelle doing Chappelle show. One of his reasons for quitting, it was like, I started noticing people wasn't laughing at the jokes, they were laughing at me. And, folks were slick saying, the N-word, you said quite a bit in his sketch series or whatever. So it can get out of hand somewhere and it can cause a little bit of strife. But I'm glad we was able to have a conversation and shine some light on it. So whoever listens to this episode, take it how you will. Hopefully, you'll tone down on using it. But one thing I know is niggas gonna nig and bitches gonna bitch. That's the two things I know.
And speaking of Chappelle, a good way to look at this episode, you probably could watch them back to back, is look at Chappelle when he had when he was the milkman delivering milk to the nigga family. So that's a good way to
oh man.
And just blow it off, because it's a conversation that has to be had. But as he said on them some good old niggas.
Right.
Hey, it is what it is. Somebody had a conversation. So
I hate to bring it up, but you niggas is late on your bill this month.
So depends on how you look at it, man.
Classic
episode.
You can find humor and everything, man. So great conversation, fellas.
But as far as for me, I'm still gonna use it. I'm not gonna use it as much, but I'm still, as y'all can see throughout the conversation, I'm still passionate about why I use it and the way that I use it or whatnot. But y'all did shed some light, and the questions that the people came to you about Rose, and the way that they came at you about it and articulated it to you, shed some light on me. So again, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to omit it from my vocabulary, or it's something that I'm not going to say at all, because I'm still going to say it for the exact reasons why I said I was going to say it. But it is something that I can taper down and realize that, okay, other people don't feel the way that I feel, so let's respect them, and I need to respect how they view it. So with that, we're coming to a close of the episode, so I'm just going to hop into the Black Business Minute, and then we're going to get to that. But one thing you did say, Rose, and I'm gonna say, somebody years ago posted this, and they posted the real definition of niggas, or where nigga came from or whatnot. And so that's when I learned that it meant king or emperor. But the people who really put me on and made me dig deeper into the research of it and really understand was, like you said, Killer Mike and Kendrick Lamar. To Pimp a Butterfly, that whole album shed a light on me as far as, the ideology and exactly where the word came from, the term came from, but then also the appreciation for why I use it, how I use it, and then also allowing me to understand how great and dope we are as Black people. And then Killer Mike as well, he's always been adamantly just saying, I'm not really saying nigga too much. He does say it sometimes, but it's niggas, and, we niggas, and we kings and emperors and all that other stuff. And Killer Mike is a very profound and intellectual person. And so he also made me dig deeper into the term, and not even just nigga, but niggas, and the term and where it came from and how to use it. So I do want to commend them brothers, some intellectual rappers who don't just rap and talk about the normal stuff or the things that we see in our environments, but they talk about educating our minds and making us step a little bit further out our comfort zone. So I just do want to commend them for that, because they are some people who put me on and allow me to see, or to educate myself on where things derive from. Now for the Black Business Minute this week, we have Me and the Bees, and it's www.meandthebees.com. So the founder of Me and the Bees is Makala. She is 15 years old. She's an entrepreneur. Her business has been going for 10 years. So she's 15. Her business has been going on since she was 5. She has a long story, so I'm going to I can't speak right now. I'm gonna read bits and pieces of it, so then therefore I'm not just going on and taking up too much time because I know we're coming to the end. But when she was just 4, she got stung by a bee and then got stung again less than a week later. Naturally, I didn't enjoy the bee stings at all and became scared of bees. But then after doing some research about them, I became fascinated and learned all about what they do for our ecosystem. Around the same time, my family encouraged me to make a product for a couple of children's business competitions, the Action Children's Business Fair and Austin Lemonade Day. So I put on my thinking cap. I thought about some ideas while I was thinking. My great granny Helen, who lived in Cameroon, South Carolina, sent my family a 1940s cookbook, which included her special recipe for flaxseed lemonade. So then she began to start making lemonade. So what she does now is she helps nonprofits that are trying to save bees in the ecosystem, but then she also gives back. Her Now at 15, her little idea from more than 10 years ago continues to grow and grow more than 500% since the company's humble Austin, Texas-based beginnings. Today, the award-winning, ready-to-drink Me and the Bees lemonade is in 5 refreshing flavors, is buzzing off the shelves of Whole Food markets, the Fresh Market, World Market, H-E-B stores across Texas, and Kroger stores in Houston. It is also available at a growing number of restaurant, food trailers, natural food delivery companies. And so, again, this young lady started her business when she was 4, and now she has been in business 10 years strong. She is in high school working on her, diploma and everything, but she also speaks at speaking engagements, entrepreneurial events. She also is still, again, trying to help nonprofits and teach people how to become entrepreneurs themselves, but then also trying to save bees because they are so detrimental to our ecosystem and our way of life. So that's our Black Business Minute.
Salute. That's dope. That's super dope.
Oh yeah, that's big time. That's big time. We're gonna have supremely black people this week, and it's gonna go to every black person that won an Emmy. So we had a record award as black people winning Emmys over the weekend. So outstanding job to everybody out there. I'm not gonna name everybody, but I will give you a few. Regina King for her show on The Watchmen. The Watchmen only had one season, but that was an outstanding show. That was a good show. The Watchmen was a good show. A lot of historical background in that show as well. So if you want to check that out, check that out. Zendaya won her show. One for her show called Euphoria, which is also another good show. If you hadn't seen it, it ain't for the kids either. So if you got children, they used to seeing Zendaya on Disney Channel. This is definitely not them. All right, you got RuPaul who have won also. You got Dave Chappelle that won. You have Anthony Anderson that won an award. You have Lawrence Fishburne that won an award for his short film. Our Supreme Black Person last week, he won Tyler Perry, so that was right on time. And go back and YouTube his speech. His speech was outstanding. Also, Dave Chappelle's speech was outstanding as well. So go back and check that out. Eddie Murphy won an award. Some people didn't know she was black, but Maya Rudolph won an award also. For those who don't know, so Maya Rudolph is very talented, by the way. Once you see her face, if you don't know her, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But she's a comedian. She's awesome. But yeah, for every black person who won an Emmy Award, you are supreme black people this week. So I appreciate y'all. Praise y'all for doing that, so we can see the younger black people know that they can come up in this acting game and shine the best that they can. And we'll need the Emmys to shine the best we can because there's probably a lot more black people that should. Especially, I can't think his name, but from that movie, The Five Bloods. If y'all ain't seen it, I can't remember his name, but he had like every movie. But one of the leading actors in that for sure should have won for best actor in the movie because man, he killed that role in Five Bloods along with Chadwick Boseman. Killed that role. Lead researcher, I can't think his name right now. I'm going off the top of the head. So.
I don't know which one you talk about, so I can't help you out. But I do want to say it's Lawrence Fishburne, not Fishbird. So I do want to say.
Oh, my bad.
But Y'all got
I'm gonna
any?
tell you his name right now. Hold
Okay.
on.
But y'all got
Before I close this out.
y'all got anything to leave the people with, or Rose, you got anything to leave the people with?
And thank you for the continued support, the feedback, the comments, even the request on topics. For those that listen on Anchor, thank you so much. And for those that are actually listening on or looking at it visually on YouTube, just make sure that you subscribe. We are trying to get to a certain amount of subscribers. We definitely appreciate the views. So if you could just tap in, leave a like, leave a comment. If you want a topic that we can kind of discuss, if you want to be featured on there, just kind of give us a shout. We can get that set up as well. But definitely look forward to more subscribers and comments and likes. But definitely thank you for all the continuous support.
Yeah, and I don't even know how I forgot his name.
Oh, it's all right.
D.Rose Lindo.
Okay, D.Rose. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna leave y'all with y'all are loved, y'all are special, y'all are somebody. Thank y'all for always pushing us to be better and to do better. For the people who do give feedback, for the people who do encourage us to strive for greatness, we appreciate that. It does not go unnoticed or unheard or unlistened. We take it to heart. Again, like Rose said, I'll just piggyback on what he said. We are trying to get somewhere in this, and not for ourselves, but so we can impact the culture and do more for the culture. So please help us out by any way possible. All it takes is a push of a button, and sometimes just to watch something or whatnot. And we don't care if you're actually paying attention while you watch. We hope you do, but we don't care if you do. We're trying to get somewhere, so then therefore we can help elevate the culture and build the culture and empower the culture. So thank you for everything that y'all do. We appreciate y'all. We love y'all. And remember, you are loved. You are special. You are somebody. And that's it for Spears.
Yes, sir. Y'all said it best. Y'all said it best. I can't say nothing else, man. Smash that like button, subscribe, forward, share it with your friends, share it, share. If you like it, comment, leave a message, man. We trying to make something happen over here, man. But to all my niggas out there, put your crown on, tilt that thing to the side, let them know you are niggas. We are supremely black. NEGUS.